way, we're going to see this. Oh, goodness, Ellie, we need to get that figured out. Okay, so, I suppose I should share my screen with you. I saw the perfect meme the other day. You know, Gru from the Indespicable Me, when he's presenting. Here, let me see if I can find that meme. Gru. And this meme really spoke to me right here. Right here. So this is our whatchamacallit, this is our current WebEx. WebEx meetings are like, yes, oh, teacher, you're not sharing your screen. Oh, that is totally oftentimes we've gotten better. So we are on the Phantom Toll booth. Yes, we are going to be doing handout 6, setting character analysis. I don't know if we're doing it today or if we're doing it. I think we're going to start it today. So
it's nice that we get to start reading the book so early in the module.
Yeah.
Like last time we had to read 100 different pages and stories, but this time we just get to go right to the book.
Yeah, and hopefully we get to finish it because we have only a month left. Ooh. Okay, so I have a poem for you. And I want everybody to turn on their I have no idea what's on the 24th. I want everybody, Matthias's birthday's on the 24th. I want everybody to turn off I want you to turn off or turn on your mic. That's what I want. So let me see, participants, unmute all. You. Okay, so we're going to choral read. So I'll read this poem together, okay? So on the count of 3, I want everybody to read this out loud with me. 1, 2, 3. Weather
be
fine, or
whether
there's a weather
not,
or there's a weather report, or
weather
be hot, well, the weather be whatever, be like it or not.
It's using weather and weather.
Good job, you guys.
Yeah,
yes.
There's 2. It's a homograph because they're spelled the same.
Ooh,
because there's 2 different types of weather.
Is this
weather is
confusing?
Yeah, so this is a phone.
Phone, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And this one, you guys, this is one that even as an adult, I still sometimes mix them up on how to spell it. That and which. Those, I don't know why, but there's always those couple words that trip you up. And weather is one for me. So we're playing with words here. Whether the weather will be fine or whether the weather will be not. Whether the weather will be cold or whether the weather will be hot. Oh, and it rhymes. Oh, goodness. So we're using weather. So Riley kind of talked about it. What kinds of weather are we using? What's the difference between these two?
The temperature weather, it's 80 degrees out today. That's the weather.
Yep, very good. And now could somebody tell me what is the definition of the other weather?
And weather is whether this or whether that. It's I don't really know how to explain it.
Yes, that was pretty good. I was thinking either or, either this or either that. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So we've got I really like this poem because it not only rhymes, so it has kind of a musical tone, and yeah, it's that play with homographs. And let's see, it's having us look at line 5, use of weather in line 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Will weather the weather? Oh, we have a homograph here. Look at, we will weather the weather. What is? So this one is the temperature. What does this weather mean? will weather the weather. How would you describe that weather?
Doesn't one weather mean like sort of getting older?
Ooh, that's a good guess. Will weather the weather. Are you getting older with the weather? I don't think it does sense. Will weather.
So you're asking what the other weather mean?
Yes. So if you look,
Right? I know what it means.
Yeah. What does it mean?
So like whether you go to the park or with me.
That's this one.
Sort of.
Yep. So that's this one.
Oh.
I want to know, will weather the weather. So this one. So this one means like 80 degrees in temperature. Will weather the weather. Let me ask you. We will survive or will die in the weather. Which one sounds better?
We will survive or die in the weather?
So your two options for the definition is survive or die. We'll survive the weather or we'll die in the weather.
Survive the weather.
Yeah. So I think of this weather, we'll survive through the weather, or we will, I always think of somebody like with the big umbrella and the big hats in the old movies, and they're going through the weather and they're trying to like make it through. We'll weather the weather. So that's a homograph. So Riley, actually, yeah, you're right. We've got a homograph in here too, because it's spelled the same. So yeah, I like that poem. Now actually, well, what does this poem mean now? We looked at the words. What does this mean? What do you think, guys? So, are we going to go outside or no in this poem? Yeah. Did my kiddos? Oh no, you're still here. You're just very quiet. It's weird. Okay. So, here is our overall ideas. We are going to, we're starting a new section, so we're really starting reading the book. We've got how and why do writers play with words? How can writers use wordplay to develop a story setting and characters? So what we are going to be really looking at now is this, the setting and the characters. So how do we use words to develop that? So goodness. We're going to read chapter 2, and we're going to notice and wonder about the places that Milo visits and some of the characters, so some of that wordplay. And we're going to look at specifically today, why is the description of our characters and settings important in our stories? Okay, so we did this yesterday. We all of a sudden had Milo get into his toll booth and take off. I want you guys to turn to the first page. I want you to look at the map again. We had Milo to and from with the toll booth, and we see a road, and he's going to Dictionapolis. That's all we know. Some of us predicted he would maybe go north. Some of us predicted he would go south. And that means he's going to go past the doldrums, and he's going to go past the sea. So that was kind of our prediction. So we're going to notice and wonder. One thing that I want to let you know that good readers do, because we're going to read chapter 2. One thing that good readers do is good readers, and actually I'm going to type this here. Good readers visualize or make pictures. So make pictures. You don't have to write this. Pictures in their head on what they're reading. So if you would like to be a good reader, when we read this, I want us to, we're going to visualize. Okay, so we're going to make pictures. This actually makes the story become more real for us, and actually you can understand things a little bit better. So when we read chapter 2, we're going to hear a lot about the setting, I have a feeling, because that's kind of our topic. I want you to imagine, what does Milo see around him? Now, letting you know, I kind of looked at the foreword. It says the idea behind this book is to be very similar to like Alice in Wonderland. How many of you guys have seen Alice in Wonderland, the Disney cartoon?
I have.
Okay, so I want you to think of like Alice in Wonderland. You remember how she like travels down those paths and she sees trees on one side, or she comes to flowers and different things? What happens is that the narrator, they actually did the visualization for you. Because if you actually read the book Alice in Wonderland, Alice en El Mundo de las Maravillas, I have it in Spanish, it actually visualizes it, okay? And it actually explains around you. So the movie is somebody's visualization of what they would see. So when we're in chapter 2 and reading it, I want you to kind of imagine like we'd be in Alice in Wonderland, because there's going to be some strange things, okay? And I want you to think about what Milo is seeing. And we're going to see, because it's play on words, remember Alice in Wonderland is a peculiar movie as well, there's a lot of play on words there too, and a lot of fantasy. So it's very similar in that sense. So when we're reading, think of Alice in Wonderland. Oh, that lets me know I should have my sister-in-law read this. She loves Alice in Wonderland. But yes, we are going to be reading chapter 2. So we're going to visualize what we're going to do. Please turn to chapter 2 in your book. Now, if you don't have your book, I have this in Schoology, and you should follow along. Good readers, we read it out loud. I'll give you a second. Okay. Good readers.
Just turned to this random page in the book on accident, and then I saw the dog, watchdog.
Oh, yeah. So here's the book, the text. Just to let you guys know, the audiobook is right here. We did buy the audiobook. What was I going to say? Oh, something else good readers do. I can't see you at home, but good readers, in order to better their fluency with reading and hearing the words, they will follow along. So I do want you to follow along with it. I don't want you, there'll be times that I'll have you just sit and you can listen. But since we are actively picking things out and usually finding evidence with our settings, I want you to actually read along. So I want you to turn to page 16. You know what? I need to start getting a bookmark. Where is a Post-it? I lost my Post-its. But I'm going to get a bookmark because bookmarks are good to have. And do I not just have a basic Post-it? No, I've got all these fancy Post-its. Oh, I do have a Post-it. I've got a kitty Post-it. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm silly.
I was a piece of paper.
Paper works wonderfully. I just randomly found a magnetic kitty bookmark in my drawer. So, okay. So good readers, you're going to do two things. You're going to follow along, and good readers will also visualize what we are, what we're reading. If you would like to read, go ahead and raise your hand. like always, I'll start out and then I will call somebody who has their hand raised, and you can read as long as you want. Okay. Chapter 2, Beyond Expectations. Suddenly, okay, so we're talking about Milo. He just got in his car and put money in the toll booth, and he's off. Suddenly, he found himself speeding along an unfamiliar country highway. As he looked back over his shoulder, neither the toll booth nor his room, nor even the house was anywhere in sight. What had started as a make-believe was now very real. What's a strange thing to have happened, he thought, just as you might be thinking right now. This game is much more serious than I thought, for here I am riding on a road I have never seen, going to a place I have never heard of, and all because of a toll booth which came from nowhere. I am certainly glad that it is a nice day for a trip, he concluded hopefully, for at the moment this was the one thing he definitely knew. The sun sparkled, the sky was clear, I think of it being blue, and all the colors he seemed to be richer and brighter than they had even remembered. The flowers shone as they had been cleaned and polished, so they're shiny, and the tall trees that lined the road shimmered with silvery greens. "Welcome to Expectations," said a carefully lettered sign on a small house at the side of the road. "Information, predictions, and advice cheerfully offered. Park here and blow horn." With the first sound from the horn, a little man in a long coat came rushing from the house, speaking as fast as he could and repeating everything several times. "Okay, Harper, you want to read it?" And you can, he said, speaking very fast, so you can speak fast if you can.
My, welcome, 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 welcome to the land of expectations, to the land of expectations, to the land of expectations. You don't get many travelers these days. We certainly don't get many travelers these days. Now what can I do for you? I'm the web. Is this the right road for Nicholas? Asked Milo, and little bowed over the effusive greeting. Well now, he began again. I don't know of any wrong road to Dictionopolis, so if this road goes to Dictionopolis at all, it must be the right road, and if it doesn't, it must be the right road to somewhere else, because there are no wrong roads anywhere. Do you think it will rain? I thought you were the weatherman, said Milo, very confused. Oh no, said the little man. I'm the weatherman, not weatherman. For after all, it is something important to know whether will be weathered than the weather will be. And then with that he released a dozen balloons that sailed into the sky. Must see which way the wind is blowing, he said, chuckling a little over his joke, watching them disappear in all directions. What kind of place is Expectations? Inquired Milo, unable to sense the humor and feeling doubtful of the little man's sanity. Good question, he exclaimed. Expectations is a place you must go before you get to go where you're going. Of course, some people never go beyond expectations, but my job is to hurry them along, whether they like it or not. Now, what else can I do for you? Before Milo could reply, he rushed into the house and reappeared a moment later with a new coat and umbrella. I think I can find my own way, said Milo, not all sure that he could. But since he didn't understand the little man at all, he decided he might as well move on, at least until he met someone whose sentences didn't always sound as if they were as much sense backwards as yours. Splendid, splendid, splendid. Splendid, 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 exclaimed the weatherman. Whether or not you find your own way, you're bound to find some way.
Man, so good job, Harper, with all of the confusing bits. So, and good job. I did hear emotion differently when you were going really fast and being the little man, or Milo. Ugh, it was really weird. But so you guys, as you're reading and as you're listening too, there are some big words. So if you need to slow down while we're reading, please do so, especially when you're doing your fluency work. Because we've got like this word like effusive. What? Some of these words I haven't even heard. Now, I can predict what they mean based on the context. But yeah, so make sure that as you're doing your fluency and you're actually helping read, take your time. And we've got a lot of quotes in this book compared to the other one. The other one, we read a lot of Sound of Running Feet's ideas, and so there wasn't as many quotes. So good job. Okay, so we're on page 20. Greta, would you like to read next?
Sure. If you happen to find a way, please return it as it was lost years ago. By now, it's quite rusty. You did say it was going to rain, didn't you? And with that, he opened the umbrella and looked up nervously. I'm glad you made your own decision. I do so hate to make up my mind about anything, whether it's good or bad, up or down, in or out, rain or shine. I expect everything I always say, and the unexpected never happens. Now please drive carefully. Goodbye, 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 good. His last goodbye was drowned out by an enormous clap of thunder as Milo drove down the road in the bright sunshine, he could see the weatherman standing in the middle of a fierce cloudburst that seemed to be raining only on him. The road dipped now into a broad green valley and stretched towards the horizon. The little car bounced along and with very little effort, and Milo had hardly touched the accelerator to go as fast as he wanted. He was glad to be on his way again. It's all very well to spend time in expectations, he thought, but talking to the strange man all day would certainly get me nowhere. He's the most peculiar person I've ever met, continued Milo, unaware of how many peculiar people he would shortly encounter. As he drove along the peaceful highway, he soon fell to daydreaming and paid less and less attention to where he was going. In a short time, he wasn't paying any attention at all, and that is why, at a fork in the road, when a sign pointed to the left, Milo went to the right, along a route which looked suspiciously like the wrong way. Things began to change as soon as he left the main highway. The sky became quite gray. Along with it, the whole countryside seemed to lose its color and assumed the same monotonous tone. Everything was quiet, and even the air hung heavily. The birds sang only gray songs, and the road went back and forth in an endless series of climbing curves. Mile after mile, mile he drove, and now gradually the car went slower and slower until it was hardly moving at all. It looks as though I'm getting nowhere, yawned Milo, becoming very drowsy and dull. I hope I haven't taken a wrong turn. Mile after mile after mile after mile, and everything became grayer and more monotonous. Finally, the car
Monotonous.
just stopped altogether, and hard as he tried, it wouldn't budge another inch. I wonder where I am, said Milo in a very worried tone. You're in the doldrums, wailed a voice that sounded far away. He looked around quickly to see who had spoken. No one was there, and it was as quiet and still as one could imagine.
Hey, man, I hope you've been visualizing this because it has changed quite a bit. I really, really think I had a very beautiful, pretty image at first, and now monotonous and gray. Monotone means like black and white. So everything is like the same color. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm just looking at your chats. Okay, and good job at reading, especially we had a big change in pace. You're in the doldrums. Somebody's wailing. So she really took her time on that. Okay, Riley, do you want to keep reading?
Yes. Yes. The doldrums, yawned another.
Wait!
Second. What are the doldrums? He cried loudly and tried very hard to see who would answer this time. The doldrums, my young friend, are where nothing ever happens, nothing ever changes. This time the voice came from so close that Milo jumped with surprise for sitting on his right shoulder. So lightly that he hardly noticed was a small creature exactly the color of his shirt. Allow me to introduce all of us, the creature went on. We are the Langtharthians at your service. Milo looked around and for the first time noticed dozens of them, sitting on a car, standing on the road, and lying all over the trees and bushes. They were very difficult to see because whatever they happened to be sitting near exactly the color they happened to be. Each one of them looked very much like the other, except for the color, of course. And some looked even more like each other than they did look like themselves. I'm very pleased to meet you, said Milo, not sure whether or not he was pleased at all. I think I'm lost. Can you help me, please? Don't say think, said one of them, sitting on a shoe for the law. He yawned and fell asleep too. No one's allowed to think in the doldrums, continued a third, beginning to doze off. And as each one of them he fell off to sleep, and another picked up a conversation with hardly any interruptions. Don't you have a rule book? It's local entrance. 175389J. Milo quickly pulled up the rule book from his pocket, opened the page, and read Ordinance. Ordinance 175389J. It shall be unlawful, illegal, and aesthetic to think. Think of thinkings. Summers pursue, reason, meditate, or speculate, while the doldrums, anyone breaking the law shall be severely punished. That's ridiculous law, said Milo, quite indignantly. Everybody thinks. We don't, shouted the larger things all at once. And most of the time, you don't, said a yellow one sitting on into the doll field. That's why you're here. You weren't thinking, and you weren't paying attention either. People who don't pay attention often get stuck in the doldrums. And with that, he toppled out of the flower and fell snoring into the grass. Milo couldn't help laughing, and little creature's strange behavior, even though he knew it might be rude. Stop that at once, ordered the plaid one, clinging to his sock. Laughing is against the law. Don't you have the rule book? It's local ordinance 574381W.
I want everybody to repeat after me. Lethargic. Lethargic. Say it one more time. Lethargic. Does anybody know what being lethargic means? Let me give you a hint. The lethargians are acting really lethargic.
Sleepy?
Kind of sleepy. You know when you're really sick and you're like, I can't do anything. I don't have any energy. Yeah. That is what being lethargic is. So the lethargians are...
Then I must have used too much energy for their voices.
Oh, you know what? That's okay. But that's why I'm pointing out their play on their names, because they are lethargians. I'm lethargic, so I'm kind of going, I suppose I can drink some of my coffee. Yeah.
We shouldn't think.
That's lethargic. Yeah, you shouldn't think. That's too much energy. Yep, so the lethargians. Okay, so opening, I'm going to continue reading from where Riley was. Bailey, we are on page 26 in the middle of the book. You were lethargic yesterday? Yeah. So, we're in the middle of the book. Opening the book again on page 26. Milo found Ordinance 574381W. In the doldrums, laughter is frowned upon and smiling is permitted only on alternate Thursdays. Violators shall be dealt with most harshly. Well, if you can't laugh or think, what can you do? As long as not, it's nothing, and everything as long as it is in everything, explained another. There's lots to do. We have a very busy schedule. At 8 o'clock we get up, and then we spend... From 8 to 9 we daydreaming. 9 to 9:30 we take our early morning mid-nap. From 9:30 to 10:30 we dawdle and delay. From 10:30 to 11:30 we take our late evening morning nap. From 11:30 to 12 we bide our time and then eat our lunch. From 1 to 2 we linger and loiter. From 2 to 3:30 we take our early afternoon nap. From 2:30 to 3:30 we put off for tomorrow what we could have done for today. From 3:30 to 4, we take our early late afternoon nap. From 4 to 5, we loaf and lounge until dinner. From 6 to 7, we dilly-dally. From 7 to 8, we take our early normal evening nap, and then for an hour before we go to bed at 9, we waste time. As you can see, that leaves almost no time for brooding, legging, plotting, or procrastinating. And if we stopped to think or laugh, we'd never get anything done. You mean you'd never get anything done? Or sorry, so they said, we'd never get nothing done. You mean you'd never get anything done? Corrected Milo. We don't want to get anything done, snapped another angrily. We want to get nothing done, and we can do that without your help. You see, continued another in a more conciliatory tone, it's quite strenuous doing nothing all day, so once a week we take a holiday and go nowhere, which is just where we were going when you came along. Would you care to join us? I might as well, thought Milo. That's where I've seemed to be going anyway. Tell me, he yawned, for he was ready for a nap now himself. Does everyone here do nothing? Everyone but the terrible watchdog. Two of them shuddered in chorus.
I can read again if you want, but
Okay, how about I'll finish this page and you can continue reading, okay? Everything but the terrible watchdog, the two of them shuddered in chorus. He's always sniffing around to see that nobody wastes time. A most unpleasant character. The watchdog? Milo quizzically. The watchdog! Shouted another, fainting from fright. For racing down the road, barked furiously, and kicking up a great cloud of dust was the very dog of whom they'd been speaking.
run! Wake up! Run! Here he comes! The watchdog! Great shouts filled the air, and the Garthians scattered in all directions and soon disappeared entirely. Exclaimed the watchdog as he dashed up to the car, loudly puffing and panting. Milo's eyes opened wide. Therein, in front of him, was a large dog with a perfectly normal head, 4 feet, and a tail, and the body of a loudly ticking alarm clock. What are you doing here? Growled the watchdog. Just killing time, replied Milo apologetically. You see, killing time, roared the dog so fiercely that his alarm went off. It's bad enough wasting time without killing it, and he shuddered at the thought. Why are you in the doldrums anyway? You don't have anywhere to go. I was on my way to Dictionopolis when I got stuck here, exclaimed Milo. Can you help me? Help you? You must help yourself, the dog replied, carefully, winding himself back with his left hind leg. I suppose you know why you got stuck. I guess I wasn't thinking, said Milo. Precisely, shouted the dog as his alarm went off again. Now you know what you must do. I'm afraid I don't, admitted Milo, feeling quite stupid. Well, continued the watchdog impatiently, since you got here by not thinking, it seems reasonable to expect that in order to get out, you must start thinking. And with that, he hopped into the car. Do you mind if I get in? I love automobile rides. I began to think as hard as it could be, which was very difficult. Since he wasn't used to it, he thought of the birds that swim and the fish that fly. He thought of yesterday's lunch, tomorrow's dinner. He thought of words that began with J and numbers that end in 3. And as he thought, the wheels began to turn. We're moving, he shouted happily. Keep thinking, scolded the watchdog. The little car started to go fast and faster as Milo's brain whirled with activity, and down the road they went. In a few moments they were out of the doldrums and back in the main highway. All the colors had returned to their original brightness, and as they raced along the road, Milo continued to think of all sorts of things. The many detours and wrong turns that were so easy to take, and how fine it was to be moving along, and most of all, of how much he could be accomplished with just a little thought. And the dog, his nose in the wind, just sat back, watchfully ticking.
Huh. That was I don't know. What are your thoughts on that chapter, you guys?
I liked it. There was a lot of excitement.
There was. There was a lot of, I don't know, like realization of.
Kind of chaotic in some part.
Yeah, I would agree as well. It was a long chapter, Casey. I thought of that as well. One of the things that I'm noticing with this book, ladies and gentlemen, is would you say that this is at a perfect fifth grade level? Or are there a lot of big words and a lot of big thoughts?
There's a lot of big words.
Yeah, there's a lot of new words. There's a lot of big words. And so what we're going to do is we are really going to start looking at somewhat what some of the words are. And we're going to really pay attention to the words that we do know. And this one I think is going to be extra tricky because we are playing with words. So if there's a word that you're like, Miss Wersinger, what does that word mean? Let me know. Hopefully, one of the things you were able to do was to imagine a really brightly colored place. I think of like Narnia, if you've seen Chronicles of Narnia too, and where it's nice and bright and there's colors. And I think of like the poppies in Alice in Wonderland. And then all of a sudden, yeah, it got really gray and monotone. So everything was the same color, just darker and lighter. That's cute, Harper. And then it started to get bright again and shiny and sparkly. So, yeah, hopefully you got to visualize. Yeah, that's my bookmark. Hi, Kitty. Opposite of a dog. Okay, so I want you to let me know really quick. And I think we're going to start our settings, characters and settings. But I want you to tell me, ladies and gentlemen, why do you think descriptions of the characters and settings are important? Now, we met 3 different types of characters. We met the weatherman, we met the watchdog, and we met the lethargians. Okay, so why are descriptions of settings and characters important? Yeah, so someone raised their hand. Yeah.
It can help you understand the book better and understand exactly what is going on. Like, if they just called them, like, a random person, you wouldn't exactly know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they're also, their name helps you understand more, I feel like.
Oh, man. And even a lot of times with cultural names, a lot of times that's how I put a face to my characters. So if I had somebody that was, I had a student one time, her name was Yashodhara, Indian name, so like from India. So I could imagine that as a character. Yeah. Harper, why else are descriptions and settings of characters important?
Well, like of settings and characters, it's important because without them, you've got like nothing. Like there's not a book without settings and characters.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna say there would still be like just one person, but he's a character too. There'd be no one. So you have to use them to make the book interesting and to make the book like actually work as a book.
Yeah. And we've even already seen a little bit on how saw you guys writing in the chat on how Milo has been kind of changed, and how the settings or the description of the character Milo at the beginning is kind of already changed. Like it's making you think about the book, right? I thought he was old. Well, wait, I thought he went to school. Well, is he old enough to drive a vehicle? Yeah, I don't know. He looks so old. And because he sounds so boring. Remember we talked about that?
I have a question. Like, it didn't even say where the car appeared from.
It just said it kind of appeared with the package. So, I don't know either. We don't know where the package came from. Greta, do you have an answer for us? Why are descriptions of settings?
Well, I think when you read a book, the whole though without the settings and the characters, it's not really a book because I feel like when you have a setting and the characters, it kind of like when we were talking about all the things about Milo, you have like one idea about the character, but then like the settings and like the descriptions of the characters really give you like more questions, and then as you get more questions and you wonder more about the character or the setting that the book is in, you feel like you're more interested in the book, and then you keep wanting to read more and more.
Yeah. And there might be a specific detail that are that makes it, like you said, more interesting. Yeah. Oh, thank you, some of you guys. She asked, what is lethargic again? That's like sleepy, not wanting to do much, just don't have energy. And Matthias said, it makes it easier to visualize. I would agree with that. Harper, did you want to add on?
I was just looking in the book.
Mhm.
Sure, it said that it his room and he said he had a toy car, and I think he had it. Yeah, it said a small electric automobile. He hadn't driven in months, so I don't think it showed up with the package. I think he had it before, and he used it to like go in the toll booth and to play the game.
Okay.
Because
Thank
it
you.
said
Yeah.
it said the books were too much trouble to read. The tools he never learned to use. The small electric automobile he hadn't driven in months, or was it years? So he must have it for more time than the package.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of toys. So I think of like the little like electric Jeeps that you see people like little kids riding around with. Yeah. Ooh, and yeah, so I see Matthias is writing kind of his visualization. Did it help me? Did you notice when we were speaking? Because we kind of gave voices to the characters based off of those characteristics. So yeah, I think of the Lethargians as little gray blobs to like little gray things and if you notice, my interpretation when I was reading, I have somebody that was talking slow. I think of like Eeyore. Oh, bother. Yeah, well, you can't laugh. That's terrible. Yeah. So they are really important. So let's open up handout 6A.
Who's 69?
Huh? Who's 69?
69. Oh, they just left.
Yeah, I have some popping in and out that's been changing their name. I think
Somebody came in and it was like Nugget Walker 69 and then they left.
Yeah, I'm gonna lock our meeting because somebody is popping in and being inappropriate. I think somebody ended up getting a hold of our code. So I'm just gonna lock the meeting. That way people can't pop in and be interruptive. Okay, so let's open up 6A. Ooh, Berkeley, I'll let in.
Risinger,
Yeah.
is like I forgot my question.
Okay, so let's put in handout 6A. So 6A in your work. Language arts. And we're not going to finish it. We'll come back to it. But we're going to start writing down some of those settings that we are reading about. Okay. Ooh. So we are going to look at some of these settings here. And actually, I'm going to grab. Oh no, it does. I have this in two places. Okay. I'm going to grab my book. Okay, so it wants us to look at page 21 in our book and 23 and 25. We're on lesson 6. I haven't been in my book apparently for a while. Okay, so we're going to look at some of these people. 6A. That's what I want to look at. Oh, okay. So we've got 2 places, right? That we've kind of been to right now, right? Or let's look at specifically 2 places or 2 characters and people. I'm going to turn this.
Well,
yes.
if you look ahead, it says literal meaning, and so you probably shouldn't do Milo because Milo doesn't have a literal meaning.
Yeah.
It's a human name.
Let's put in a place doldrums. And let's also put in the characters lethargians. Lethargians. So Lethargians. Lethargians. Okay, and we'll just start typing a little bit. So I'm going to do 2 columns, okay? And the description. So how did the author describe the doldrums? And so you might need chapter 2 just to kind of look. How would we describe these doldrums? Glum. Yep.
What are some not colorful?
Yeah, so monotonous. So only one color in dark and white is what that means. So one color on different, so like shades of gray. I'm just going to say shades of gray. Let's see. I think it says on page 21. Is that where it describes the doldrums? 22, yeah. Things began to change as soon as he left the main highway. Sky became gray. Whole countryside seemed to lose its color and assume the same monotonous color. Everything was quiet. Even the air hung heavy. The birds sang only gray songs, and the road wound back and forth in an endless series of climbing curves. So it was kind of boring, right? Boring. Yeah.
Is the doldrums on the map, or is it just a place when you stop thinking?
It is on the map. So he went south, and remember where he came to a cross and he wasn't thinking? So he actually went into this winding circle of stuff. So this confusing, boring place. So if you look at the road, it just swirls instead of going straight to Dictionopolis. So
when I saw and visualized a picture of the doldrums, I think to me gray and just everything just droopy. It's sort of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you can see, the doldrums is really close to Dictionopolis, and then there's a palace in Dictionopolis, and also I predict that it's they use a lot of words that you won't know because it's Dictionopolis.
Could be. Like I said, I haven't read this book, so yeah, it's a good prediction. Lethargians. How would you describe those lethargians then? What do they lack? Not what Miss Wersinger has all the time. What are they lacking? You can put it in the chat too.
Excitement.
Energy. So no
excitement.
Not exciting. They're often, you said shy guys. Shy. Do you remember, what did Matthias, how did you describe them before? Physically, what kind of? Yeah.
Oh, I visualized them kind of looking like little gray shy guys. You know what a shy guy is?
No, I do not.
You can look it up. They're a Mario character. Mario. But I picture them without their belt and without their face, gray little gray shy guys without their belt and a hood over their face so that their face is in shadow.
Oh,
yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, kind of like that. Like little gray guys.
Yeah. Kind of, have you ever seen like Princess Mononoke to where they've got the little circle or the bone guys? Blob characters. Oh, blobfish. Maybe they look like the blobfish. Maybe that's what they look like, guys.
Yeah, maybe that's what the
Like gray
Lethargians look like.
blobfish.
Yeah. Blob characters. There's a blobby. Whoa. I think of, yeah, little gray blobs. So that's shy blobs. Gray. Yeah, depressing. Okay. So please, don't turn that. I see some people. So,
You're glitchy.
thank you.
Lazy. So you could say lazy and like
There you
or
go.
very honestly.
I like it. Okay, so we're going to finish this on Monday, and I will have a new fluency for you. And I think the new fluency has some characters in it so that you guys can practice being different characters with your fluency. Okay, so don't turn
Are you
this.
gonna show us your baby?
Oh, I was going to go get my baby. Yeah, if you hang on a second, let me go see if he is. We'll go see if he is sleeping or not. I'll go get.
We send in what we already did.
I think she said we'd finish it Friday, so or next
No, she said Monday. Today's Friday.
yeah,
Finish
so
Monday.
day. So I think we don't have to turn it in.
No, you do not.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my baby is sleeping. So maybe next, usually next Fridays he's home. So I'll try showing you next week. Okay? So yeah, you don't have to turn anything in. You just have to read 30 minutes tonight for homework. Okay?
Do we have to do
Assignment for
fluency
today.
today?
Nope.
Is there fluency today?
Nope.
Where's
Just
the assignment due today?
Have a good day.
it's not due today. That's what this is. I'll change it so that it
okay.
says. I'll change it so that it says that it's due Monday. Okay?
So we'll finish it Monday then.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Monday.
Bye.